get into some shite. What's up, my friends? Welcome to the Out of Tune podcast, the podcast you haven't heard from a little while. I will explain. I'm here in an icy Atlanta, and let's go ice both ways. Weather ice and political ice. There's been both of them seen here recently, but tonight there's just everything's supposed to be covered with ice, and certainly by tomorrow night it's just going to be a winter wonderland, and we don't get that much in Atlanta like that. So I guess we're going to appreciate it unless we die because icicles fall and just like go in our heads and freeze our brains. I'm looking at the worst part of it, I guess. I'm making it into something really bad. I think it'll be all right, surely, right? I think they say that trees might fall on people. But, what are you going to do? You got to live. I haven't been on the air for a while. Let me explain. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's none of your business. No, that's not true. It is your business. This is my podcast, so I have to talk about my stuff. But I don't like talking about it too much because it kind of comes off as like being griping and complaining, and who wants to listen to that? I did address this a while back, but I'll go into a little more of it. I've like July of last year, I started on a long journey of weird heart issues, which I've never had before. I've never had heart issues. I've never been sick. But I guess it's one of those things that you have to have as you get older, and I don't know. But I've been fine just going my whole life without any kind of situation like that. And then in July, boom, it's served up on a platter. Heart issues you got to deal with. So here's the thing. I started noticing that my heart rate was down into the 40s. Your heart rate's supposed to be at least 60 and 70. Mine, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to have a heart rate. So my heart just decided, well, let's just pick 40s. All right. And so it did that. Well, that was the wrong number. And, what happens is when your heart rate drops that low, a lot of things happen, but one of the main things that happen is you just get out of breath all the time. You can't walk across the room without feeling like you've run a marathon because I guess you're not getting the oxygen you need or whatever. And that started in July. It scared me. I was like, oh, wow, what is this? This is not good at all. So I immediately, I've never been to a cardiologist before, but I immediately had to set up an appointment with a cardiologist. I went to my primary care people, and they were like, go to the cardiologist. You've got to go now. You need tests. So this is all new to me, right? So I have to go, and the cardiologist, I explain to them what's going on. And the cardiologist says, oh, that's because of this drug that you're on. So I've been on a medication for a while for a totally different, I have a heart, a weird rhythm in my heart. The rhythm is going to get me at some point, they say. But I have a little, and I've had that forever. It's not like a major deal. In fact, everybody looks at it and goes, it's not that big deal. But you take a medication so it doesn't feel weird all the time. It controls the rhythm. Okay. So I've been on it for 4 years, and the cardiologist said, you shouldn't be on it for 4 years. I don't know why you've been on it for 4 years, but I want to take you off of it. And that's going to be probably the reason why you can't breathe. Your heart rate's low. So my thought was, oh, good. I know now what the problem is. And so my cardiologist took me off that medication, put me on a different medication. Side effects of the new medication is low heart rate. Same thing that I already had. But, I'm willing to do it in order to get better, so I take it. Well, what happened? It just keeps it never gets better. They keep changing the doses. They raise it, they lower it, they chop it in half. They do all this stuff to try to where everybody's just trying to figure out what's going on. I had a heart. I don't even know what it was. A heart scan, and they said it's fine. Everything looks great. You don't have heart disease. You look good. So it's not that. But it kept on happening. So it just seemed like every time that they would change the medication, it seemed like it would make it worse. So finally, this month, I just said no more. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going off of the medication totally. It's just messing with my body. So I'm saying goodbye to the medication. And that's been a little over 2 weeks now, and I'm still low heart rate. So first of all, the medication is known. It's a beta blocker, so the medication stays in your system for a while. As they say, sometimes it doesn't come out for 3 or 4 weeks. But by the second week, they say you should notice some difference. And I kind of haven't. So now I'm starting to think, oh, wow, this is me. It's not the medication. It's me. It's my body. It's my heart freaking out. My heart doesn't know what the heck it's doing. So getting a little scared about that. And so that's the thing. That's what I've been dealing with since July of last year. And it does a couple of things. The whole thing about just being out of breath almost constantly. Now, it does fluctuate because sometimes I'll go back up into the 60s and 70s, and then other times I hang around down in the 40s. And a couple of times it dropped into the 30s, which is really weird. But anyway, that's the one thing, being out of breath. But the other thing is it just kind of it robs you of motivation. You're just tired all the time. You just don't want to move. You don't want to do anything. And I just keep thinking, I got to get up and do a show. Got to do a podcast. Got to get a show going. But my motivation, all I want to do is just sit and rest. I went from a regular dude to an 80-year-old man in like 6 months. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm 80 or 100 or something. I've never lived like this before. So I do have I went to a couple of cardiologists. One of my cardiologists just left, just says, I'm not going to be back until May. So I had to find somebody else. So I got a new cardiologist that I'm going to see in a couple of weeks. This person's supposed to be really, really good. Hoping we can get something figured out, something taken care of, so that I can kind of get back. I hope I can get back to my old self. Is this what happens? You just one day you're just like, boom, you're old. Sorry, shove you to the back. I don't know. I hope that's not what it is. Well, anyway, I'm here now. I'm going to really try my best to do a show. It may turn out like I do one every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to do it every week. I just have to drag myself into the studio and do it and not be exhausted all the time. And I'm feeling like right now, I feel like my heart rate is like 10. I just feel so here's the other thing. This is what's really weird. I've always had tinnitus my whole life. I've heard noise in my ears. That happened in 1981. I went to see Van Halen in concert, and my ears have never been the same. But now, and this started last year, I've had what they call somatic tinnitus, which is it throbs, the tinnitus in my ears throbs in sync with my heartbeat. So I hear my heartbeat in my ear nonstop 24 hours a day. And this is true. It does not go away. So now, even if I try not to think about it, I can't help it because my heartbeat in my ear is just constantly going. Imagine that 24 hours a day. And it's as irritating as it sounds. It goes on all night when I'm sleeping, when I wake up, anything. It never stops. And I've gotten pretty good at being able to tell how low or how high my heart rate is just from listening to that sound in my ear. I could tell, oh, it's gone up today. Oh, it's down really low. But it's like this death noise in my ear letting me know that my heart rate is really low. It's reminding me, if I don't want to be reminded, it is reminding me. So that's the other thing. I just looking for some relief. I don't know. I'm about to give up. I guess next week, no, it's like a week and a half. I get to see this new cardiologist. Maybe there's hope. He might even give me less hope. I don't know. He may say, you're done, buddy. Your heart's gone. So anyway, that's where I am. That is where I'm never on the show I've ever talked about heart issues because I've never had them. I've never had a heart. And suddenly I have to deal with this. So please be patient. I will try my best to keep it going. I did want to talk this week a little bit. That's why I'm up here. That's why I'm doing this show, is because I want to chat with you. I missed you and I want to chat with you. I know no one listens to this show anymore. But that's okay. I do it for me. Just pretend like you're me out there. If there's if there's a doctor out there, give me a call, diagnose me. All right. So here's something that some good thing. This is a good thing. I'm very impressed and kind of hopeful that there are still good writers out there and new good writers like kind of popping up. I think it's easy to kind of criticize young people sometimes, like maybe, the education's not as good as it used to be. Kids don't do things the way people used to do them. And it's like the art. A lot of people feel like that the artistic and creative stuff that's going on from young people not as good as it used to be. I can't say that I'm that person. I think it's different, but I don't necessarily think it's worse. I see a lot of really good art. I read a lot of good writing, and I see it. I think young people are very creative, and they have a lot more outlets to be creative in than I had when I was growing up. But anyway, I want to say this. I've noticed that there's a lot of really good writing going on, and you might notice this too. And I'm kind of really into writing, and I like reading a lot of good stuff. And oddly enough, even though I'm going to kind of throw out some examples. One in particular, my wife and I started watching this show called Shrinking. Do you know this show? It is on what is it on? Apple TV. And it's written by, it's put together by the same team that did Ted Lasso, which we also really liked. I think they did Scrubs as well. But it's that same kind of humor, that kind of rapid conversation, dialogue going back really, really quick. Interesting characters. This show's not quite as cartoon as Scrubs. Scrubs kind of leaned into the cartoony, I felt like. But it's great, fantastic writing. One of the best written comedies. I think the comedy is so good in this. If you haven't seen it, that's why I'm telling you, tune in. We just started watching it. We just finished up the first season, and I think they just started showing the third season, if I'm not mistaken. So we still have another season in there, but it's awesome, and we love it. And great writing. If you like great writing, great comedy, good characters, and it's got that kind of same flavor that Ted Lasso had, where it's just sort of positive. You have a lot of people who are flawed, but in the end, it all kind of works out, and it's kind of positive. So if you haven't checked out Shrinking, Harrison Ford is in it. I remember reading about that before I even knew anything about the show, but he's excellent in it. I didn't know he was that funny. I knew he was funny, but he's a good comedian. He's very good at delivering comedy. Check it out. Shrinking. Another thing, now this is kind of going back way in time. This, I say contemporary, I say good writing going on now with kids. And it is, but this is somebody even before my time. I have heard my entire life a obviously, about Truman Capote. And I knew he was a writer, and I knew a lot of people held his writing in high regard. And I just didn't really pay that much attention, other than the fact that he was just a celebrity, a pop culture icon when I was growing up. And then, of course, they did the movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman, which I think I saw, but I don't remember it. And that's the other thing about getting old, is all movies are new to you. You can watch them and then watch them again a year or two later, and you've never seen that movie before. It's great. But anyway, so his famous book, Truman Capote's big book, was in Cold Blood, which I have also heard my entire life. But I'm here to tell you, I never read it. I knew a little bit about it. So my wife and I kind of made a commitment to start reading more books, and so that's one that I chose. Here's how I read a book. I start, and then I'm like, this is boring, and I put it away. I can't finish a book. All books are boring to me. So you really have to have a good book to grab me. And this book, almost from the very beginning, just grabbed me, and I loved it, every second of it. Based on a true story. If you don't know the story, it's a true crime story. One of the first true crime novels. Truman Capote kind of felt like he invented that genre. But it's riveting. It's excellent. It's great storytelling and fantastic writing. So it just kind of fell in line with my season of great writing. And I would kind of like to encourage you to listen or read the book if you haven't yet. Definitely worth it. Finally, the other, I don't have anything I can kind of point to of actual writing, but I did come across a poet recently. Her name is Sarah Teresa Cook, and I read some of her poetry, and I really enjoyed it. And I can't tell you exactly why. Except some poetry, and I love all kinds of poetry, but some poetry is the language is so I shouldn't be talking about language because I can't even remember it. It's so colorful. You kind of lose yourself a little bit, and that's not a criticism, because poetry is supposed to be like that, and sometimes it's fantastic. I love poetry like that, but this is the poetry I read from Sarah Teresa Cook it has a simplicity about it. Yeah, really easy to read, but it points to just really wonderful symbolism and wonderful thoughts and words, and it's just great poetry. I really enjoyed it, and I've been trying to find more of her work. I know she's got a book or two out. She also teaches a lot about writing, so I am telling you this now so that you can do your homework. You can look her up and read her poetry. I can't really read any here because I don't have the rights to do so, but I can tell you her name, and you could go read her poetry. So if you like poetry, do that. All right. Short show today, right? This is kind of the new podcast, short episodes, trying to fit them in between 15 and 30 minutes. I think that's probably a really good length for my podcast. I have been, other than the fact that I'm just wiped out constantly, I have been seeking new interviews and guests for the podcast, a couple in mind. I just have to get to a point where I can do it. But I don't want to lose touch with you. So I will constantly be trying to do these shows. And you can listen to them or not listen to them. It's totally up to you. Speaking of writing, I would like to point you right now to my online magazine. I have an online humor magazine, which you are welcome to read for free. That's right. Online humor magazine for free. Located at theleghorn.com. Just like the chicken. You know the cartoon Foghorn Leghorn, right? Well, this is just called The Leghorn. Theleghorn.com, and it's all humor writing, and it's free, and you can read it anytime you want to, and I invite you to do so. That's all I'm going to talk about. That's right. We're going to end it here. I would like to see you again next week. I'll make every effort to do so. If I don't get hit in the brain with an icicle.